Hey, how's it going, guys? Today was the second day of previews at the Magic Kingdom for cast members. I was invited to the preview as well. Bag check at the parks is a little different now. Rather than security going through your bag, what you're going to do is remove all of the metal objects from your personal bag and place them in a clear bag that security will provide you, and then you simply walk through the metal detectors. The monorail did have the dividers that we've all been hearing about inside of them. Cast members would group you onto numbers that correspond with a particular monorail cabin, so there isn't a mad rush to get in when the doors open. As soon as we arrived at the park, there were signs and cast members there to greet you and remind you of health and safety procedures once inside. There were markers on the ground to help control lines and help with the crowds, which is the same as we have seen at Disney Springs already and the other theme parks in the area. Once we got inside the park, we were greeted by a large scrim covering City Hall due to maintenance on the building front.
Yes.
One of the really neat things that Disney is offering is their cavalcades in place of their parades. This gives you a really great opportunity to see your favorite characters inside the park, still without having meet and greets. The cavalcades are quick to show up and quick to leave, which helps prevent any large crowds from building up. Even though the painting is not 100% complete on the castle, it still looks beautiful. I think Disney did a fantastic job picking out the colors. I know everyone's going to have their own opinion on the changes of such an iconic building, but I think people are going to be very happy with the colors once you see them in person. One of the neat things about the colors also is they're really reflective, so when we start having the castle projection show, I'm sure it's going to help that out as well. There were actually painters in Fantasyland in the back section, the new Fantasyland area, that were still painting the castle walls. I can only assume that they were painting the castle walls to match the rest of the castle, although whenever I was there, it looked like they were just putting their base paint on. Every line we got into today had hand sanitizer at the beginning of the line, right before getting onto the ride, and immediately after getting off. We weren't being required to use it by any of the cast members, but we still did, just because of how convenient Disney made it, with it being an auto dispenser and it just being there within arm's reach. In the lines where it was impossible to reroute the queue in order to provide social distancing, Disney has built plexiglass barriers that were way taller than me, and even though I'm not a particularly tall guy, they definitely seem adequate height to protect you from anything from a cough or a sneeze to a full-on Mickey ice cream bar being thrown at you. Although, I don't know what you're doing that's gonna have somebody waste a Mickey ice cream bar to throw it at you.
Hello. Morning. Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, Bryce.
One of the things we did get to see firsthand was how Disney will be handling the attractions with the pre-show. At the Haunted Mansion, rather than having the maid or butler open the foyer doors and let guests in, the doors were propped open already, and there were stanchions leading guests from the foyer doors, through the foyer itself, and through the stretching rooms, which was already at its max height. The sliding doors were set to open, and the stanchions led you straight through and onto the ride. It was a little disappointing because I love everything about the Haunted Mansion. It is my favorite ride, and I could talk to you about it all day. And I feel the stretching room is probably one of the more fun parts of the attraction, but I think this is the responsible route for Disney to go, and I applaud them for making that tough decision so that we can at least still get to ride in all of our Doom buggies. With the recent announcement of Splash Mountain being rethemed to Princess and the Frog, there were a lot of people who wanted to get their last-minute Splash Mountain themed merchandise. Because the gift shop is so small though, they could only let a handful of people in at a time, which meant there was a line for the most part of the day. I personally waited in the line twice because halfway through the day they put out different items, but it was definitely worth it for me because I got myself a little Brer Rabbit plush, and he's actually here right now helping me edit this video. A little more change to the Disney queues that we're familiar with. A lot of the interactive elements have either been disabled by removing handles or knobs, or by turning them off completely, or the line has actually been rerouted completely to avoid them altogether. In Big Thunder Mountain, the handles for the fans that make the moving pictures were removed, and then over at Winnie the Pooh, they actually rerouted the line away from the honey screens.
You're no longer hangry? They removed the handles from the fans. I don't think wheelchairs will fit through here. I guess they don't come through here anyways, though.
For some lines where the line couldn't be reworked and barriers just weren't the right solution, Disney has set out their social distancing markers along where they're going to have the extended queues. Even though these extended queues may look terrifying, just remember there's actually going to be a lot of space between each party, so the line should still move pretty fast. I suggest just trusting the cast members' judgment on how long the wait should be, since they do this every day. Of course, sometimes there are things that can't be predicted, but usually they're really good about their wait times. Now that you've spent all morning playing and riding rides and being socially distant, you've probably worked up an appetite. Disney does strongly encourage guests to use their phones to use the mobile order through the My Disney Experience app, which is a great way to simplify the entire process for yourself and avoid the lines. But if you don't have your phone with you, or you simply prefer to interact with another human being, you can still order your food at the window as well. Dining locations will also have markers on certain tables telling you where you can and cannot sit. This is in order to help keep dining guests with enough space between each other to help keep everyone safe and healthy. This can make finding a table a little bit more challenging, but if it's not too hot or wet outside, it could be a great opportunity to have a picnic. Now, I personally love It's a Small World. It's been one of my favorites since, even before I could say the entire name. This poor hippo has always seemed to have something up with his one eye, but I couldn't help but notice that it might have gotten a little more piratey recently, and I thought it looked a little funny and thought you might like to see it too. Hopefully Disney will give it the love it deserves really soon. As we got closer to dinner time, we did notice a few of the quick service locations forming a line in order to get inside. This is a great time for you to go ahead and pull up your My Disney Experience app and place your mobile order so it can be ready once you get inside, or you can also just look at their menu while you're waiting to help you and your kids figure out what you guys want to eat once you're ready to go inside. Now, most of the day this was not an issue. It was only really noticeable around peak meal times like lunch and dinner. Once again, those cavalcades are a great way to see characters in a unique setting in a way that you might not ever get to see them again. I personally was really intrigued to see Gaston riding a horse through Liberty Square, and Pooh Bear was really dancing his honey-loving heart out up there. I didn't know of any of the set times for these to go out. Basically, anytime I heard music, I really took off running. It was a really nice surprise, and I always rushed up to where the music was. It was always a special treat for me. At the end of the day, Mickey and his friends were all out on top of the train station waving goodbye to everyone. I didn't get to see much of them before they left, but it was a really nice send-off for us after a full fun day in the park. I think Disney did a great job crossing their T's and dotting their I's, trying to make us feel as safe as possible, and I'm really excited for the Magic and Pixie Dust to fully come back.
As you make your way home, Mickey and all of us here at the Magic Kingdom thank you for making today magical. Have a great night.